guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and my first impressions of the Deadpool Gwenpool April Pools mini update are pretty mixed. I like the rework for Gwenpool, and I like her tier 3, and I absolutely love the animations for both characters. I really, however, do not like, and I think there's going to be a lot of drama and a lot of dissatisfaction from the community on Deadpool's rework, if you can even call it that. And then, of course, the bigger elephant in the room since the patch notes. This is the second back-to-back paywall uniform for Gwenpool in 3.5 years, and so that hasn't really changed much. And so you essentially have a situation where I don't even, like, it's weird. I don't think you should buy Deadpool's uniform at all unless you plan on buying Gwenpool's uniform and tier 3ing her and using her. Because as it currently stands, from my limited testing, and again, this is just my first impressions, but from my limited testing, Deadpool has no PvP value on his own, and he has very little PvE value on his own as well. As a standalone character, he's not going to compete with Hawkeye and Captain Falcon and Spider-Man in PvE. What he can do is make Gwenpool compete with them. And I think that's really going to rub some players the wrong way, because Deadpool, you know, he can support Gwenpool and she supports him, but he should be able to function on his own. He should not be strictly a support, but his leadership is insanely good for Gwenpool, like insanely good. So if you were just thinking about, if you were just going to tier 3 and upgrade Gwen and get her uniform, strongly consider throwing out the extra 1700 crystals for Deadpool and then tier 3ing him, because his lead is basically his leadership for Gwenpool is basically the same thing as having Sif's support and having Echo's leadership, sort of. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close, which is bonkers. Which is actually bonkers. It's actually better offensively than the two that I just mentioned there. So it's crazy. However, like I said, that's going to definitely rub some people the wrong way. And Deadpool, I think the devs need to go back and rework him and buff him, because he's pretty bad. Now, a quick rundown for some information here for you guys. The optionals for Gwenpool, if you're going to be picking up her uniform, we have Bullseye Dark Avengers, Deadpool X-Force, two pretty bad uniforms. Then we have Wave Classic, which is okay. Sharon Rogers Star Knight, which is okay, and then Mysterio Far From Home, which is kind of bad. So her options are honestly kind of lame. For Deadpool, we have a bit better choices here. We have Quasar, then we have Captain Marvel Last Avenger, She-Hulk Avengers, Wolverine Phoenix, and Hulk Amadeus Cho, but still not the best optionals. Now, real quick, if you're wondering how to get Gwenpool's uniform, obviously you have to pay real money. We sort of talked about that in the last video. But you go over to the event shop on this like little scroll thing here. You go over to this event shop, and it will be here. Mine's not here because I already bought it, but it will be right next to the power saving mode theme, just over to the left of it, I guess, where the gold is right now. And you'll be able to buy it for 30 of the playful tokens. The 10 playful tokens that they're going to give from the check-in event is coming next week. It's 7 days away. It's on the 7th day. So you have to wait a full week for that. And then the other thing is, I want to tell you guys, the bonus mission is bugged right now. So I have her uniform mythic for Gwenpool, but they're not giving me those extra 150 gear up kit rewards for doing so. So yeah, that is bugged if you were, looking to see that and you haven't found that. So now let's talk about what's good as far as Gwenpool goes. Well, for starters, she has basically the best tier 3 animation in the game. This is hilarious. She basically goes on a photo shoot killing these rando mobs and decides to do a video where she blows them up at the end and gets a photo. Really, really funny. Super duper creative on the part of the devs. So whoever did this, I really got to give you an applause, because this is amazing. Like this is top quality memery, and this is exactly what we expect from like a Deadpool Gwenpool combo. So I absolutely love that. As far as the skills go, and we can go into the skills now and talk about the rotations, if you're going to be picking this one up, Gwenpool has a pretty difficult rotation because it's a lot of canceling. However, it's also a lot of hits. She has some really, really gorgeous skills. So, a lot of like slapstick kind of stuff where you see the comic book icon, like the comic book text and stuff, and the pow, poof, kaboom, wham, slash. You see a lot of Deadpool as well coming in, a lot of like confusion on their part, a lot of really cool explosions, and a lot of gun work. A lot of bullets, like bullet hell frenzy. It's really cool. So as far as her rotation goes, it's pretty straightforward, although it's difficult. It's easy to understand, but difficult to master. You're going to do 3, cancel 4, cancel 5, cancel 2. 3, 4, 5, 2. And then you're going to land on 2 with everything going. The only skill that you don't get the hits for when you cancel is 3. Like, you don't get the explosions, but you do get the accumulation buff, the limitless imagination, and that's what's important. So yeah, 3, 5, 4, 2. And then when you have the tier 3 up, you do 3, 5, 4, 6. And then let go on the 6, and then she drives around her motorcycle, and then she throws the motorcycle, lands, and does a pose, and then does some bazooka stuff. It's actually a really long animation, but it's really cool. So she's got really cool animations. It's basically like Deadpool and Slapstick had a baby, and then she's actually very, very strong. And then for Deadpool, you do see Jeff the Shark behind there. You do see Jeff the Shark there. And I'll show you Jeff later. So he is there, but he doesn't really make too much more of an appearance. I think Jeff is driving the motorcycle for Gwenpool, but I can't quite tell. For Deadpool, he has the same first and second skill that he had from his 30th anniversary uniforms, so I'm not going to cover those again. His new third skill is the tornado we saw from the sneak peek. You're going to want to cancel that because of the accumulation. His new fifth skill is really cool, but I really wish the devs would make it instantly cancelable. So please, devs, edit this skill. Like, they need to bump Deadpool's damage up. They need to like double or triple his damage. But in addition to doing that, they need to make this skill instantly cancelable, because right now, like, look, it's a really cool skill. He pulls out a bag and he throws the bag on the ground. Gwenpool shows up, and then a bunch of tiny cars, taxis, and helicopters explode. So they're basically making fun of their own animations, because for so many years we've commented on how there's so many characters, you know, Rhino, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, so many characters who have helicopters or cars in their skills. You know, She-Hulk throws a car at you, etc., right? So they're basically memeing on that, which is awesome. However, you can't cancel the skill until Deadpool throws the bag. So if I cancel it too early, you can see nothing happens. So you actually have to wait quite a long time for him to throw the bag, and it makes it very difficult timing-wise. The rotation that you would use for Deadpool is 3, cancel 5. You would wait for him to throw the bag, and then you would do 4. That's the rotation, but it's a very difficult rotation, and I find myself missing it like 40% of the time, just because the timing has to be so precise. And then the other difficult thing, the other disappointing thing, is that his 6th skill does no damage. His tier 3 still has no damage. So I think the big loser here is Deadpool, and it feels really bad because Deadpool basically is needed. Well, he unlocks the full potential of Gwenpool. So we're going to do a really quick showcase here. I've got an invincibility proc on him, so this is just his raw damage. I was testing him out in PvP because he has iframe ignore and a lot of healing, but he's straight up garbage in PvP. So for those of you wondering, don't wonder about Deadpool in PvP. It's a complete waste of time. There's no way he's going to be meta for PvP. He doesn't have anything besides healing and iframe ignore. He doesn't even have damage reduction or anything like that. So he's just going to get absolutely blitzed. Like, he gets killed by Sentry easily. Okay, yeah, these raw damage tests, it's just his leadership, basically, right? Okay, so he's going to throw it. We're going to do this here. So now there's no Insight CTP. There's no buff from Wave, and there's no extra Pierce from Gwenpool. Because I do think a lot of players are going to want to just pick up Deadpool's uniform if it's really good, right? Here's the thing, it's not really good. Right, it's not. So there's the accumulation skill. So there we got the accumulation from the co-op. But yeah, his Forge doesn't hit very hard. His 5 seems like it hits hard. But yeah. There's just no way there's no way he can compete with Hawkeye and these guys. With this kind of damage, there's just no way. Yeah, see, this is exactly, yeah, see, this is what it should look like. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5 bars from the tier 3 is not bad. But yeah, a minute. Nope. A minute 05 from a native for a native tier 2 character who just got a brand new uniform That's 1,750 crystals. And he's using his own leadership that gives him 40% attack. Nope, not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. Now, that's disappointing. I'll make more content for Deadpool for sure, but what you really want to check out here is Gwenpool. You're going to want to use Deadpool's lead for Gwenpool, right? It's like it's night and day, okay? So like please, if you're going to spend $20, $30 to get Gwenpool, just fork over the 1,700 crystals for Deadpool cuz his leadership is nuts on her. And I'll do a comparison where I show you guys in another video like how much his leadership makes a difference. It really does make a huge difference cuz his leadership is basically also a support, right? But check this out. Like check out how nutty Gwenpool is by comparison, okay? Now she does have a damage proc, okay? So before you get upset, she does have a damage proc, but even without the damage proc, she was way faster than Deadpool. Look at this. It's over. First phase is done, guys. 20 seconds. Gwen is actually so cracked. It's a really fast rotation, so you have to be like super precise. But she's actually so cracked. Okay, we got stunned by the cage. That's cool. Is it done? Are we done? Yup. Look at that. 18 seconds. So this is sort of like the worst of both worlds. I don't know. You know how they say the best of both worlds? And I think for the average MFF player's reaction, this is going to be the worst of both worlds. Because here's the thing, right? Regardless of how you feel about these characters and how you feel about their looks, Deadpool is the master and Gwenpool is the protege, right? Like master and apprentice. And Deadpool's the OG. So to have this kind of a flip-flop where now Gwenpool is way better than Deadpool, like it's not even close. She's like way better than him. Even if he had an obelisk, guys, I was testing him with basically the same obelisk. He had a 200 proc and she has a 180 proc with cold, or she has a 200 proc with cold damage, which doesn't matter. And he also had a 200 proc, or he had a 180 proc. He was 20 seconds slower than her. He was finishing it in about 40 seconds. So she's literally twice as fast. And she's twice as fast because that leadership, like his leadership doesn't apply to himself. That second line that says applies to Gwenpool, it doesn't apply to him. So I think what the devs could do, honestly, if they wanted to balance these characters, is just make the second line of his leadership also apply to himself, right? It doesn't make sense that his passive only applies to Gwenpool and not to himself. It makes sense maybe for a leadership if it's like a small buff, but for this much of a buff to only apply to her is crazy. It's actually crazy. So yeah, I do think players are going to be upset, and I'm kind of upset. You know, like it doesn't make sense. Like it's fine if she's a little bit stronger than him, but it's like it's not even close. It's not even close. She's like twice as strong as he is. Like legitimately, she's twice as good. So yeah. That's why I'm saying worst of both worlds, in the sense that the more expensive uniform is better, and the better uniform is for the character that's technically like the copycat, right? It's like if Ben Reilly was stronger than Peter Parker. That just doesn't make sense, right? Like one of them is the OG, the other one is not. So one of them should be stronger, and it should be in my opinion, it should be the OG. I don't know. Anywho, guys, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this very strange update. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.